Welcome. Chris Principe here from Financial IT, coming to you direct from Frankfurt, Germany. And do you know why? Because this is where Sibos is at. And Sibos is the big Swift event they have every year in a different part of the world. It's where international banking is number one. And I'm here today with, speaking of number one of my favorite guests, Parag. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much, Chris, for having me on your talk.
Great. Thanks for joining us. And please tell us a little bit about Nucleus.
Yeah. So, firstly, like we are here. Sibos is a amazing event. We try to participate every year because we do transaction banking, which is what is best aligned with Sibos. I'll talk about a little bit more about that. Nucleus is a 40-year-old company. We are a specialized IT company in the sense that we work only in the financial services domain, BFSI. Within that, we focus on two areas, which is transaction banking and retail lending. We are unique in the sense that we started doing, we focused on creating solutions of our own. So we are a products company and we are a products company which is more than 30 years old. Our founders decided that we will go into IP business, which is what we are very proud of, because they wanted to create IP from Indian soil. And they did not want to follow the trend that other IT companies, big and small, in that time were following. Even today, most of the IT companies follow that trend, but our founders wanted to create products out of Indian soil. It's a difficult business because you have to invest a lot, and most products fail rather than succeed. So we got lucky, of course, but we worked very hard also. We also went public more than 3 decades ago, because for creating product you want money, and those times there were no PE firms and all that, so we had to get money from the public. That's where we went public, and then we invested in the products, and we got our customers. So as we speak now, today we have about 200 odd customers spread across 50 countries. We have customers, of course, in India, in Middle East, Southeast Asia, Australia, Japan, Latin America, Europe. We are trying to get entry into North America. We're doing some background work. But thanks to that, we focused on these two areas. We focus on transaction banking and retail lending. And that's why I think we good up in these areas, because we do very specialized and focused work. And our customers like us for that, because it's not only about technology. I think they like us because we understand their business much in detail as compared to maybe someone else could do.
I have to tell you, I was listening to every word. It was really impressive because, yes, the common understanding is that, companies, are IT companies. But in your case, you guys are a product company that use IT to build your product.
Absolutely.
Right? So you have the skills, but more importantly, you have the product. And I think what your customers realize is that you have the knowledge of the business to be able to build the products for them. And that's very unique.
Yeah, absolutely. We focus a lot on domain, which is the understanding the business that we are into. We get knowledge from all our customers, and we put that all knowledge into our product, and then that product gets rolled out to all our customers. So everyone gets benefited from indirectly from each other's knowledge base. They may be competing in the market, but otherwise through us they get a common solution which they can use. And our products are generally very highly configurable. They're very flexible. So we have a single code base which is deployed in, if we talk about our latest products, which are FinnAxia for transaction banking and FinnOne Neo for the lending suite. I think about 60-70 customers, they are running a single code base, which is also not very easy. And we have devised a mechanism of ensuring that we come out with a product release every 6 months. So typically every 6 months we come out with a big product release of both of our products, whether it's FinnAxia or FinnOne Neo. We have a large investment going in it. So typically 20% of our revenue gets invested back into the product. We have about a 500 member team who's continuously building products, and there's other team who then implements those products into customer location and then support them. So this is how we work.
Well, it's really interesting because you mentioned how global you are, right? Over 200 clients and customers in over 50 countries. And right away, what that tells me is that you not only know the business, but you know how the business is done in different places. And this is really important, especially in transaction banking, because, their rules are a little different in places, the regulations are a little different, but the way people do things sometimes are a little different. So it gives you a really rich and functional product.
Absolutely. And that's where I'll come back to the same point which I mentioned, that we try to make our products which are highly configurable. So the same code base works in India, it works in maybe Middle East, it works in Africa. Everywhere is the same code base. And when we make our next release, it also gets adopted at the same customers.
Well, what's I hear really good that you're telling me is that because you're using a single code base, and that's unusual in the industry.
Yeah, it is.
That you're able to maintain your customers easier. It's able to upgrade for them easier. It's able to add efficiency and functionality for them easier, while at the same time, you still have all the work of maintaining the single code base.
And the important part is the same product, because as you mentioned, the business may be the same, but it's done very differently in different geographies. Even in the same geography, different customers may do, their workflows may be very different, their approval levels may be very different, and their limits, etc. Everything can be very different. And people find it amazing that the same code base can work for everyone.
Well, it is amazing because it's unusual in the industry, right?
It is.
And you've got almost 40 years of being in business, which testifies really to how efficient that approach has been for you.
Yeah. So we've kind of mastered that approach. We have created our own methodology of product management, where we have of course we follow the Agile methodology, but then that's the technology part of it. But then because since we have so many customers, market is changing, regulations are changing, so there are requirements coming from all over the place. How do you prioritize those requirements is one of the biggest challenges of any product companies, because you will have a list of 1,000 things, but you can do only 100 in one release. So that's one of the biggest challenges, and we kind of mastered that art. So we can't make everyone happy, but then our attempt is to make maximum customers happy. That's what we work on.
Well, and that amount of work that has to go in, yes, you might have 1,000 items, you put 100 into an upgrade. So that begs me to ask you the question of, well, what's new in your product? What new product do you have going out there for transaction banking and for retail lending?
So if I talk about transaction banking, okay, of course, one thing which is common whether it's transaction banking or lending is today no product can be there which is not imbibing AI into its solution. So we do have a lot of use cases which we are creating both in transaction banking and in the lending. If I talk about transaction banking, a typical, because payments volume is just growing and growing, right? There are lots of payments, and with that and with digital adoption, the frauds are also increasing. So how do you, without interrupting the flow of transactions, how can you figure out which all transactions are genuine and which are fraudulent transactions? So we have something known as an anomaly detection. So based on the pattern of the transaction flow, if an anomaly is detected, so those transactions are flagged off. We still don't reject them. We flag them off so that someone can look at it and say whether these transactions are okay to proceed or. So that's one simple use case that I'm talking about in transaction banking. If we talk about lending, there are lots of other use cases. There is automation of the entire credit process. So credit assessment is one of the toughest thing in any lending platform. And if you're able to automate that, if you're able to automate that using AI, if AI is able to take decisions on credit decisions based on past data, I think probably no human being can do better than that. Similarly, there are use cases on collections and many other things.
So it was very interesting for me to listen to you talk about the use case that you brought up, and I think it's a very good example. So your ability to start incorporating AI is going to be really a nice enhancement for your products.
And
But what do you think the future is going for your products, for the industry itself?
so, of course, AI is the future. So we'll keep with every release we keep on adding new and thanks to the domain knowledge we have, because AI is not all about technology, right? Technology is just one part, but since we understand the domain well, it's easier for us, I think, to visualize those use cases which will be very relevant in the business. So we want to come out with more and more use cases with every releases, AI use cases. If we talk about the functionality adoption, if I talk about transaction banking, there's a lot of traction we are getting on supply chain finance. That's an area which is growing a lot. I think also because of the way the geopolitical situation is arising, I think the physical supply chain is getting disrupted, and that is also having an impact on the financial supply chain. So there are now corporates who are trying to create a ecosystem around them, so that a ecosystem of financial supply which can be financed for finance. So that's one functionality, virtual account, which is getting very, very popular across the world. And of course, there are regulatory changes which is happening. Regulatory changes is something which is, I would say, both opportunity and also a challenge, because yes, the regulators everywhere are trying to make businesses safer for the end customers, but at the same time, sometimes it does put in some kind of a speed breaks in the flow of the transactions. But I think ultimately it's good for everyone. But then the speed of regulatory changes is really, and that's again because we understand the business well, and since we have a common code base, it's easier for us to bring in those regulatory changes at a faster pace and roll out to everyone.
Well, I'll tell you, the future sounds bright for Nucleus. You know, some of the things you touched on really struck me. One is when you just spoke about the future of AI, you went right to use cases. And most people I hear, speak about AI, oh, we might do this, we could do this. You go, and that speaks to your history as a product company and as a global product company. 200, more than 200 customers in 50 different countries. It's quite impressive, and it's really a important story for your customers to hear. So I'd like to thank you so much for spending some time with us here at Sibos.
Thank you.
Parag, it was quite a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was
Great.
Thank you.